In the city, a thriving metropolis encompassing 1/3 of a billion souls, a man can change his world as easily as crossing the street. It is a place of a million cultures, the world in microcosm. For some, it is their last hope for survival. For others, it is their playground. And for others yet, it is their hunting ground. Isaac Sarason is a talented hacker, a doctor of applied network theory, trusted employee of British Telecom-Sprint. He lived in a world which 90% of his fellow citizens can only imagine. And he has a problem. His health is failing. His job is on the line. His world is crumbling around him. He wants out. And the street is his only escape. What happens when the life you dreamed of is killing you? What do you do when you find yourself hijacked? Colbyjack.net is proud to present Firmware, Hijacked, written and performed by R.L. Ferguson. Firmware, Hijacked, Episode 9, 14. The Red Square was packed. 3 bartenders worked the bar, 2 waitresses slipped among the patrons. Georgian industrial fuzz blasted out of the speakers, blocking the sound of the city. I pushed through the crowd. Every eye in the place was on me. I felt their repressed rage drilling into me. Leo definitely knew how to turn the locals against outsiders. "Very well played, Leo. What will you do for an encore?" Leo had best be a virtuoso, for BTS didn't like being lied to, and I'd lied oh so very often. I finally made it to the bar. The bartender must have been expecting me, for he pointed toward the back of the bar, past the table reserved for the runner who camped out by the bathrooms. I passed the runner's table. There were 2 different kids there tonight, a boy and a girl dressed in traditional tracksuits, with bits of reflective tape around their ankles, wrists, elbows, and knees. I shook my head. They were the next generation. They were the newest meat thrown into the vicious machine which would use them up as soon as they outlived their usefulness. I passed down the dark hall. Sound suppressors cut in as soon as I passed the men's room. The driving drone of Georgian industrial fuzz replaced with the complex rhythms of what I could only assume was Georgian folk music. Everything in this damn neighborhood except Masood was Georgian. Why shouldn't the folk music be as well? There was some kind of holographic effect in the hall. From the bar, the hallway appeared to end in darkness. From within the hallway, it became apparent that the Red Square was much larger than it appeared. I stepped from the hall into another era. The furniture was of finely turned wood. The chairs were dainty examples of the finest designs in pre-maker furniture. Doilies graced the tables, which were spaced wide apart. Flowers sat in vases centered on the tables. Fine china and silverware sat ready. Each table sat about a dozen, and 6 identical tables sat around the room. I saw Leo sitting next to a harsh man with layered hair wearing a city-weight silken jacket and a banded collar suit. The table before them held a full complement of fierce-looking men and women, the women in fashionable furs and leather, the men in suits which matched the man with the layered hair. A mountain of food in silver and china towered over the gathered goons. If there was royalty in Little Russia, these people were them. I pushed past the maitre d'. The room fell silent as I approached Leo. I saw the men shift, and the women gathered their bags. Hands disappeared under the cloth. "Leo, what a wonderful surprise finding you here!" My voice dripped with sarcasm. Leo turned to the man with a layered businessman trim parted on the left and said something deferential in Georgian. "Speak so I can hear you. Didn't anyone tell you it was rude to carry on conversations your guests might not understand?" Leo waved his hand at the table. Everyone but the man with the businessman trim got up and moved across the room to another table. That is how it is, I thought. Layered hand is the big guy. Leo might be a big guy, or he might belong at the kids' table. But layered hair is the real deal. I walked around Leo and took the chair beside layered hair. "Hi," I said to layered hair. "I'm Ishmael. I believe you know all about me." Layered hair took my hand, his handshake controlled and dignified. He didn't attempt to crush my hand into submission. "I'm Sergio Lamediza. I believe you understand what that means." "It means you're the man in charge. I ignored Leo. He might have set the plan in motion, but Sergio was the one who'd get things done. Just have 3 things to say. Then I'll let you return to whatever it is you're doing here. Sergio smiled courteously, though his eyes said I was on thin ice. I appreciate men who speak their mind. Would you like a drink? Had enough for a lifetime last night. Leo knows all about my condition this morning. I really wish he would have gotten something for me when he stopped at the pharmacy. Leo's eyes bored into mine. I continued. If I didn't, I'd lose my nerve. First, I am prepared to do the right thing. Not because you have shamed me. Not because you hold my life in your hands, but because Nona deserves better than what she's received so far. I reached into my pocket, withdrew the Tycho Mercator earwig box, and tossed it on the table before Sergio. Sergio opened the box and examined the golden rings contained within. He weighed them in his hands. Real gold. You are a man of great honor. Anger rose in me. I started to shake. My eyeball headache returned with a passion. I controlled myself. Second, British Telecom-Sprint is looking for me. I am a marked man. They won't let me go very easy. Sergio looked at Leo. Leo spoke. I had Mospana reroute his phone. They shouldn't have found out already. They know. A friend of mine called me and warned me they are looking for me. That little trick of Mospana's would have worked with any other company, but not with BTS. They're too smart for something like that to work. I knew it was my fault. I'd picked the wrong doctor in the wrong hospital, but no one present would ever know the truth. I took the rings back from Sergio and pocketed them. Finally, I have a condition that will probably kill me in a year. I have heard of a Dr. Riona, who can fix me. I need you to locate Dr. Riona for me. Sergio looked me over. If we do this for you, what will you do for us? Ask Leo, I said as I stood up. I'm sure he has plans for me, plans he made without asking. I walked toward the entrance. Murmurs rose from the kids' table. I stopped halfway and stared down Leo. I'd have done anything for you if you'd asked my price. There was no need to drag Nona into this. I turned back to the door, passed through the bar, and back onto the street. 15. I walked through the crowds on Tbilisi Avenue, past Masnia Civilis Pharmacy, where bright neon announced, Fully licensed farm maker, San, Pfizer Johnson, Roche Michelin, Bayer, we fill all scripts. I had a week left on my Maxalt Reglan. Then it hit me. If I needed more, I'd have to find a new doctor. A doctor who'd prescribed a script without city health numbers. A doctor willing to risk his practice for a man hunted by BTS. That sounded like a problem for Leo. He'd pulled me into this world. He'd have to solve my problems. I had a few jewels and cash in my pocket. Not enough for a meal, but enough for cab fare. If I didn't go far, and a few drinks. I continued down the storefronts to Georgie's Market. Blinking by the door was a cash terminal. For a moment, I was tempted to withdraw my limit, get some cold, hard cash in my hand. No, that was not possible, at least not here. BTS would be watching my accounts, waiting for me to use a terminal. They'd discovered I'd moved. That much was clear from the questions Frankie asked. If I used my card in Little Russia, they'd know where to continue the search. When did I last use my card? I used it for drinks at the Red Square and with Georgie for the apartment. Red Hot Trail right there. I added moving to my list of things to do. I wandered the short aisles of the market. My mouth started watering as I scanned the shelves. It was then that I realized I hadn't eaten since last night. A side effect of Maxalt Reglan was a loss of appetite. Normally I ate on a schedule, whether hunger called or not. Since I had left my old place in Park Terrace, I'd been off that schedule. I grabbed a couple instant heat cappuccini. The egg on the wrapper appeared waxy. The bread boat was only a step above vending machine sandwiches, but it was food, at least according to the wrapper. I snapped the heat tabs on the khachapuri and checked out. Georgie's sharp-nosed daughter checked me out, her eyes fierce as she took my money. The khachapuri burned my hands as I grabbed them off the counter. At Nona's corner, I found her standing alone. She smiled as she saw me emerge from the crowd. Her face said she was happy. Her body showed she was scared. She turned her Coach Vuitton's brightness down as I approached. "Didn't know if you'd eaten," I said as I offered her a pack of khachapuri. "I think these are food." She took the steaming packet and tore it open. "Barely food, but better than nothing." The smell of processed cheese product, vegetable oil, and rubbery egg drifted on the air. Wait in silence. I didn't know how to start the conversation. I was out of my depth and knew it. We finished the processed food. Grease reflected the taillights of passing cabs as little flashing tracers on our fingers. I saw a blaze of light down the street. She'd have to run soon. "What's the fastest way to the alley?" Her face twisted in distress. "You're leaving?" "Only for a few hours. Need to free up some cash and don't want to leave traces here." I searched my mind for words that would work. I saw she didn't believe me. "I talked to Leo. I'll make it right." The blazing flare of the runner was almost upon us. My hand went into my pocket and found the Sony Praxis memory chip box. I handed it to her. "I saw these and thought you might like them." She opened the box and her eyes lit up as she beheld the silver seraphs with their multitude of wings. The runner was across the street. Nona pulled out the gold posts from her ears and replaced them with the seraphs. She shook her head. The flashing angels danced beneath her earlobes. The runner was upon us, his jacket shining with white-hot flames. My eyes hurt, my headache flared. Nona noticed. She turned to the boy, a youth of maybe 13. "Trofim, turn your jacket down. I think my friend Ishmael finds it a little much." The boy dimmed his jacket to match the ambient light. "Is that your old man?" Trofim asked with a wry smile. He handed a packet to Nona. Nona smiled shyly. "Yes?" Trofim extended his hand. "I'm Trofim. If you hurt Nona, me and my boys will make you pay." His face was suddenly stern. "I'll do my best to stay on you and your boys' good side," I responded. Nona slapped Trofim on the back of the head. "Don't listen to him. He thinks he's next in line to head the Mogilevics." Trofim shot Nona a dirty look. She roughed up his hair. She looked past me up to Tbilisi Avenue. "Nicole is coming. You both need to move." Trofim waved at me with a large smile as he ran down Tbilisi Avenue into one of the many places where my map ended. Nona stood on her tiptoes and pulled my head down by the lapels. She kissed me on the cheek and whispered, "Take the red line. There's an express stop just over there on Sheridan. You need to go. Nicole is very upset." I turned my head and saw Nicole approaching. I kissed Nona on the forehead and headed in the direction of the station. The taste of her skin, salty sweat, paprika, and cumin, aroused me in ways I was not comfortable with. This work is released under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Do what you want with it. Remix it, re-record it, transcribe it, share it. Just don't sell it or change the terms of the license. Your creation must be released under an Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.